Hi there, I'm Anna Marie de la Vega. Now, here we are after a perfect storm of damage. Ice and snow and roof damage and home damage and tree damage and yard damage and fence damage. And here come a perfect storm of scams. So today, you know how there's a guy on the Weather Channel who, whenever he shows up in town, you know it's bad. And he's going to try and tell you how to stay safe. We've got that person with the Better Business Bureau of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. It's Robin Householder, President and CEO. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, where do we start?
Well, unfortunately, scammers go where they know we are, and they know right now we are very vulnerable as a community. We've had a significant amount of damage done to our homes, our vehicles, our offices, our yards, you name it. And they know that's where the money is. And so they're going to come to town and they're going to take advantage.
We'll be spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars to get things repaired in the next weeks and months and maybe years.
Absolutely.
And they want a big chunk of it. And probably they will get a big chunk of it. So we're going to try and warn you about some of the top scams that are going around and how to avoid them.
Right. We don't want to just warn you, but we want to also make sure that you understand how to ensure you don't fall victim. And let's find some good companies to do business with so that you don't need us afterwards.
Okay. Now, what if we start with someone you said has been hitting a lot of people already?
Right. Well, you know, one of the things folks don't realize is as quick as the weather channels start to tell us there's bad weather, people from other states get in their cars and drive here because they know there's money to be made. And so we've had situations already throughout Williamson County specifically where tree removal companies are knocking on your door, offering you an opportunity to fix the problem right now. They want cash up front. There's not a contract. Again, it's very much you've got to say yes today or we're going to move on to the next house. And then unfortunately, they take that money. And right now we're seeing upwards of $6,000 per victim. And either only start the job and never finish, or quite frankly, never start it. And you don't ever hear from them again.
Part of the problem with that tends to be a sense of urgency that you have. It's like, I need to get this fixed, need to get it taken care of, or I'll be on a waiting list. But sometimes you can prioritize. And if the tree limbs there are not causing you any damage, if they're not keeping your power out or whatever, if you can wait, slow down and take a breath.
And do homework.
And do your homework.
Right. And so a little bit of homework, 10 minutes on the internet, is going to save you months of headaches. And so a couple things we want consumers to do before you do business with anyone that you don't know. Just simply log on to bbb.org and check them out and see what their track record is in the community. In this instance that I talked about earlier, this particular company has an F rating with us because we know they are notorious for not doing the job as promised, not responding to concerns we bring to their attention or consumers bring to their attention. So we want to make sure that you don't only stay away from the bad guys, but that you find those reputable companies as well. A couple things consumers need to know. One of their greatest resources beyond bbb.org is their insurance agent. Let their insurance company guide them with companies that they trust, because quite frankly, that insurance company doesn't want a second claim. They want to make sure your work is done correctly up front. But what most consumers don't know in this kind of situation is it's not just enough to get a name of the company and check them out to see if they're reputable, but they should also be insured and they should be willing to share their insurance coverage with you.
Here it is.
You can see it. We are a licensed and insured company, and they should have that information either in their brochure, on their contract somewhere. Now, I say contract. That's the other thing. When someone wants you to pay them and not get all the details of the service they're going to provide in writing, that's another red flag. Legitimate businesses are going to be more than happy to give you a contract outlining what the work they're going to do is, the timeline, the payment expectations, and then we're all on the same page, right? And one of the things consumers also need to know is a company that can cut a tree down doesn't necessarily remove the tree. And so you also want to make sure that you ask that question and that information is listed in the contract as well. So
it's not an extra fee or just lying there.
Right. Because a lot of folks have chainsaws, but they may not have the ability to haul it away.
And one of the reasons that businesses will have contracts and will have all of that in their contracts is they want to be protected as well. We said we would do this, this, and this.
Right.
and not that, and that.
Right.
And here's what it'll cost. Here's what you owe us. They want to be protected if they're legitimate.
Right. They want to give you what the expectation of their service is and what the expectation that you have for them.
Yes.
And, one of the standards of BBB accreditation is that companies are transparent. That's what a contract is. It very clearly outlines what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and what the cost is going to be.
What about people who say the job was started and then the people ended up just going away and never coming back? And they've heard of the business, somebody's recommended the business, and they can't get any resolution with that.
Well, a couple things. Obviously, you want to let BBB know, file a complaint. We'll do what we can to help you get it resolved. If you feel like it's been more of a scam, someone that's not actually legitimate, then we want you to report it to Scam Tracker, and that's bbb.org/Scam Tracker. That information is so critical for not only us to be able to notify others in your community, because believe it or not, these are more often geographical. They're going to hit a neighborhood at a time, so to speak, right? So we can then allow others to know in that community. But also all that information is shared with the appropriate government agencies, whether it's the Attorney General, the Federal Trade Commission, the FBI, the TBI, whomever. They're going to have that information in their system once it's entered into ours. So because they can now take legal action, they can now go pursue that company at any given time.
Okay.
And so our job is to report on them, to make sure you know who the bad actors are, to make sure you know who the good actors are. But their job is to then hopefully try to help get you a resolution if it is in fact a legal issue. The other thing is if you've been taken advantage of, you also want to make sure your local police department knows, because they're going to keep an eye out for that vehicle. They're going to, and actually let me back up a minute. One of the ways you can typically identify a scam is the vehicle that person drives up in is not marked, or it has an out-of-state license plate.
Oh, it doesn't have the company name and logo and the phone number.
Right. So if the company name is not on the side of that vehicle, the side of that truck, if the license plate is from another state, that's a big red flag that you want to make sure that you do your homework and find out who they are. Anna Marie, I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman, the last time we had severe wind damage throughout the community, pull up in my driveway. It didn't really work out well for him because, again, it was in an unmarked vehicle. He tried to offer me a price that I knew was not legitimate. He also told me that he wasn't going to turn it into my insurance company, so he would save my deductible.
So he's ready to commit insurance fraud.
Yes, and me too, had I agreed. And then, of course, his license plate was not from Tennessee. So after I let him do the sales pitch, I then introduced myself, let him know who I was.
I'm the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau.
Yes, and that my Ring cameras have a picture of his car, and that I would be sending that over to the Wilson County Sheriff's Office. Needless to say, he left.
Did he run? Did he walk fast? What did he do?
My front yard is 3 acres long, so it took him a while to leave because I live on a farm. But on the same token, again, an unmarked vehicle with an out-of-state license plate, that is a huge red flag to say, wait a minute, let me check you out.
I just had all sorts of release the hound.
Sadly, my dogs probably would have just licked him. They assume everybody that pulls in has a treat for them.
That's like one of those viral videos. It's like, this criminal knocked on the wrong door.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If you're just joining us, I'm Anna Marie, and this is Focus. You're listening to Robin Householder. She's the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. And we're talking about top scams after storms like the one we've just had. And they call it Fern.
Right. The name of the storm is Fern.
Which sounds so harmless and sweet.
It does sound so harmless, but sadly not so much.
I know.
And so, we've talked about trees. There's so many other areas of this event that are wide open for the scammers. We're starting to get insurance fraud scams where someone's coming to your door or they're calling you and saying that they'll take your claim information over the phone for you. Again, this is not your agent. This is allegedly somebody from the actual carrier when in fact it's not. Really all they're trying to do is get your private information. Not to mention the delay now in your claim because you think you have in fact processed that claim when in fact you haven't at all.
Yeah.
And so now you have an identity theft issue potentially. We've seen emergency management scams where folks are going door to door telling you that they're from the Tennessee Emergency Management Office and that, they need your information to file your potential claim because there will be aid provided not only by the state but also by the federal government. And again, their intention is to get your private information. Legitimate government agencies do not knock on your door. They just don't. They will typically set up a space in your community for you to go to when you need to file for assistance.
Yeah.
They are not coming door to door to your neighborhood.
Yeah. And they're not going to say, I've just done some work over at your neighbor's house.
Yeah, that too. So, and then again, although we talked about the tree, it really applies to everything. Maybe your fence got damaged. Maybe your roof got damaged. Maybe your vehicle had a tree fall on it that was damaged. Maybe your windows have been broken because whatever happened with the storm. Mm-hmm. And so all of those industries are now going to be open game for fraud and storm chasers. And so again, that little bit of time that you take to take a step back, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And it's time for you to simply shut the door and say, well, I'm going to check you out. I'll follow up with you if I'd like you to be my provider.
Good. That's very good. We've really been told not to open the door to strangers. And then once we've done that, now we have this person telling us, well, I can help make your life so much easier because all of these trees are in your yard. You've got roof damage. I'm going to make your life easier. I'm here for you.
Well, and listen, when there's this volume of work to be done, there are going to be legitimate, honest businesses that will come to neighborhoods. Ask for their credentials. Ask for their business card. Again, get their licensing. A legitimate business owner is not going to rush you to make a decision right this minute. They're going to respect that maybe you want to get 2 or 3 estimates, that you are going to verify that they are who they say they are. They're going to be patient and they're going to wait.
Yeah.
If the deal is only good right now, it's really no deal at all.
Because we're here right now.
We're here right now.
And we have the stuff to do it.
Right. Maybe not.
Right.
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay. I noticed that the Better Business Bureau has put out a list of the top scams. And I would like you to kind of just roll through some of the specifics that overall people need to remember. And then we'll go back into some more specific scams.
Sure.
But it's something about the contracts and all of that stuff.
Sure. So we've talked about the storm chaser scams. We also want to make sure that you know about price gouging concerns.
Oh.
Again, price gouging is illegal. The Attorney General has already sent out several messages and warning companies not to price gouge. And especially for those emergency repairs.
Yeah.
Maybe the normal repair cost is $1,000 and now all of a sudden it's $3,000. Absolutely unacceptable, absolutely illegal. So again, don't allow yourself to get into a situation where you're paying more than what the market is typically what's normal in the marketplace.
And you do that by...
You can, again, get multiple estimates from multiple contractors so that you can compare that information.
Okay.
And if you do have someone try to gouge you on pricing, make sure you contact Consumer Affairs at the Tennessee Attorney General's office and let them know that, because that is an absolutely illegal issue.
Wow.
Again, we have talked about tree removal scams. It is okay to give someone a deposit. Anything greater than 50% is considered excessive. That should be a red flag for you.
Got it.
Again, make sure that you are getting what the work is that they're going to do in writing. And it also doesn't hurt to find out if they're certified by their industry, because there's a very big difference between someone just coming and cutting your tree down and being a certified arborist. And again, if you're not sure how to look that up, just contact us. We can always help you.
Okay.
Get you exactly what you need to know. HVAC, again, that's a big concern.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah, regardless of the nature of the storm, this is the time of year where people's systems are going to go down, and contractors can claim that either your furnace or your heat pump may just need a service to keep it from going down, or once it's gone down, again, they will go door to door. But the other thing you want to remember is when you're researching things online, because of AI, there's a chance you're going to get pop-up ads on both your social media and your web searches, because AI allows that to happen.
Oh.
They know what your shopping patterns are, and they know what your search patterns are. Remember that if you see a pop-up ad or you see a listing in your search, don't click on those links. Go directly to the company's website and see if that price, that service is actually offered by them, because unfortunately this time of year you're going to see a lot of pop-ups that are fraudulent, that are basically imposters.
So they've bought an ad basically and put it online, and then when AI does a
Right.
search, it finds that ad and goes, here's one company that's
Well,
saying they'll do it for this.
We've all shopped for shoes online, and lo and behold, the next time you log onto your Facebook or Instagram, you're getting shoe ads. So AI knows how to feed you what it thinks you're interested in.
Right.
And what the scammers are going to do is they're going to take advantage of that. So again, just don't click on those links. Don't assume that what you're seeing in that pop-up is accurate. If it looks like a legitimate company, and there are many of them in our town, right?
Yeah.
Like Hiller, for example, is a really well-established organization, does great work. Lee Company, another one. These are HVAC companies. Go directly to their website and see if that price, that service, that sale, that deal is actually available. Because oftentimes scammers will just create an imposter ad, meaning that it looks like the legitimate business,
Right.
when in fact it absolutely is not. And so now what you've done is you've given them your deposit or your money or your private information. You're never going to get the service you thought you were getting. And you're back to ground zero again, where you've lost your money, you've lost your information, and your HVAC system is still broken.
Oh, gosh. Can you report it if somebody has made basically a clone of somebody's
Sure.
business webpage?
Like we even see it during the holidays where they clone shopping sites, and hopefully to take your money. Absolutely report it, as I mentioned before, at Scam Tracker. Unfortunately, though, a lot of these scammers are from overseas. So if they're doing business online, it's a very difficult situation to find them, to basically to shut them down. We do say always pay with your credit card because your bank is going to assist you in recouping those funds. Never pay with a gift card, specifically online. Never pay with your debit card. Never pay with Bitcoin, things like that. Because once that money's gone, it's almost impossible to get back.
And the debit card, can they keep taking more out? Because they have your bank info at that point.
Well, again, they shouldn't be able to. But again, once you know you've been, it's been fraud. There's fraud has happened. Just let your bank know right away, and they're going to work with you to help you recover those funds. We had a consumer in Clarksville a few months ago that was frauded over an asphalt scam, and the company originally quoted about $2,500 to do the job. Once the job was over, they came into the consumers' homes, of which one was in a wheelchair, so they were elderly. They would not leave until they ran multiple credit cards, adding up to $19,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So luckily, their son contacted us. We then worked with those individual card-holding banks, and they were able to get all of their money back within about 3 days.
If you're just joining us, first of all, thank you. I hope this ends up saving you hours, months, years of headache and heartache and thousands of dollars. We're talking with Robin Householder, the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. We're talking specifically about scams after storms, and in this case, Winter Storm Fern. I did the hard copy printout of the tips that the Better Business, the top scams and the tips that the Better Business Bureau had posted online. If we had something small to print out for like all of our elderly residents.
Sure.
Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Here's the red flags, the do nots, the do.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, never say yes to someone that knocks on your door. Let them politely tell them thank you for the information and that you will do your research and follow up with them.
Okay.
Again, ask for their credentials, their business card, their insurance information. If they want to give you a quote, it cannot be verbal. It must be in writing, and then politely close the door and let them know that you will follow up. If they are high pressuring you, it is okay for you to call the police and let them know that there's someone at your door that will not leave. I tell my elderly family members, if you're getting ready to answer your door to someone you don't know, take your phone with you so that you can very quickly call 911 if you need them. Again, if you look out your windows, see if that vehicle does have any name recognition on it, and again, is it an out-of-state license plate?
Okay.
If it is, you don't have to answer the door. My parents and my grandparents grew up in an era where everybody was a friend. Well, guess what? Scammers are always friendly. Why would they be rude? Because they want your money. Being nice doesn't mean being not honest. And so that's sometimes difficult for the elderly to understand, but they were so nice. Again, doesn't mean they were so honest. And so they have to take responsibility, but also they should get into the habit that if they're not sure, check with their family members, check with their neighbors. Does this sound legitimate to you? We were so grateful that this elderly couple contacted their son right away, because that really was the difference in them completely losing all of that money and getting it back very quickly. So don't be afraid to speak up. Oftentimes folks are embarrassed that they think they've been taken advantage of. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to let someone know that you think this is a little fishy and they're going to help you out. Don't be afraid. And oftentimes, sadly, scammers will tell you, don't tell anyone. Again, they can be very threatening. All the more reason for you to pick up the phone and tell somebody.
Oh my gosh. So those are top tips.
Absolutely.
That we want to get into the hands of our elderly family members.
Absolutely. And granted, they may not be as savvy online as some.
Yes.
Just pick up the phone and call us. We will walk them through it. We will help them. We will guide them to the right types of companies to do business with. One of the things folks may not know about bbb.org is you can actually do something called request a quote. So if you need a tree taken down, you can go on bbb.org. It's going to know where you are based on your zip code. You can put in tree removal service, and it'll automatically give you options of companies that have a good record with us, that have committed to our 8 standards of trust, and send them a request to provide you with a quote. We've done our homework. We've checked them out, so you don't have to.
Wow.
And then that's going to give you a much better opportunity to work with somebody reputable than someone that sadly is not.
Robin, what are the 8 standards that they have to?
First and foremost, it's build trust, meaning they've got a track record in the community that has shown that they do business reputably.
Yeah.
Okay. Honor promises. If you write a contract out, you need to live by those promises in that contract. Be transparent. Make sure that all information is laid bare, that nothing is hidden.
Because sometimes contracts will say this, and you go, well, what about this? And they'll go, no, we'll take care of that.
Well, but also be transparent in writing that contract in a way people can understand it. I love our corporate attorney, but I always say to him, okay, if you could just talk to me in English as opposed to legalese.
True.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I appreciate that he knows all those legalese, but I just want to know in really clear, concise words, what am I getting myself into, or what does this actually mean?
Okay.
Be transparent. Let's see, where am I going? I know them in order, right? Safeguard privacy. So what that means is if you have a website that takes in private information, you're taking payments on your website, you need to have a privacy policy. Most folks are familiar with privacy policies when it comes to their doctor's office or their bank. They normally get it mailed to them once a year, right? Well, if your contractor is taking that similar information, your name, your address, your phone number, your email address, and again, or payment information, they too should also have a privacy policy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Be responsive, meaning that we're not here to judge who's right or who's wrong, but if we bring something to your attention, we just need for you to respond to us, to respond to that consumer. Either tell us your side of the story, that in fact you have honored the contract, and we'll walk that consumer through that response, or maybe offer up what a good solution would be.
Whoa.
Okay. Embody integrity. What that means is that you're not doing anything that would you and or the principals of the organization, meaning the company and or its owners, that are not involved in anything that potentially sheds negatively on the reputation of the BBB. Now, that may sound like a broad definition, but that's where we do criminal background checks on every company that is a member of ours.
Oh.
We want to make sure, Anna Marie, that if you're relying on BBB to have someone come in and do a kitchen remodel, that they're not an axe murderer, so to speak. So if we know that a business is going to come into your home, come into your private business, meet you on the side of the road because your car broke down, we're going to do a criminal background check on that company, that business leader, to be sure that we're not going to put you in harm's way, that they're not affiliated with something that potentially doesn't exude integrity.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and a lot of folks don't realize that we do that. And I will tell you, when companies apply for membership, oftentimes they don't believe that we're going to do that background check, and we do, and we deny them accreditation. We deny about 7% of the companies that apply because they don't meet our standards. I'll get a phone call from the business owner who says, I didn't really think you'd check me out. I'm like, well, we told you we were going to. And we really did.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, Anna Marie, we don't just do it once. When companies renew their accreditation, we go through the exact same process again to ensure they're continuing to meet our standards.
Oh.
So it's not a given that it's a one and done. And, we're going to be doing things like looking are they required to have a license in the industry that they're in? If they're not, we'll help them figure out how to make that happen. But if they've chosen purposely to not have a license, we will not allow them the accreditation
Of the BBB.
the recognition, right?
Okay.
The trust, are you maintaining all the appropriate registrations and licensing and all the things that you should within your industry? Clearly, we're going to look at a radio station differently than we are an asphalter. And so we know what the expectations of those individual industries are. And by the way, we track about 900 different industries in our database. So we have all of that information. And so we're going to know, if you're an auto body mechanic, what are you required or not required to have? If you're a hospital, what are you required or not required to have? And so that's where our team will then go, okay, based on the industry they're in, we're going to go verify and make sure that they have all the things they're supposed to have. If not, again, we'll give them a chance to course correct. Sometimes small business owners don't know. And then the last two standards are advertise honestly. A lot of folks don't know that when the BBB started more than 100 years ago, it was because of the old snake oil salesman advertising mentality. We actually have a poster in our office from a legitimate ad that said, and I quote, asthma cigarettes, safe for children over 5.
Oh, no.
Right. Now, that's from the early 1900s. And so the good news is a lot of very honest business owners got together and said, maybe, just maybe, we should set some standards of advertising, because at that time, consumers didn't believe anything they read at all. So when someone applies for accreditation, we're going to go look at their advertising. We're going to look at their website, see what they're saying. Are they making superfluous claims? I'm the biggest, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the oldest. Prove it. We're going to make them prove it. We're going to make sure that what they're saying is truthful and that it's not in any way misleading. And then the last standard is simply just tell the truth. We talked a little bit about that with their contracts, but basically in any form of communication that they have, we want to know that they're telling people and they're representing their organization truthfully. If I could do sort of a selfless plug right now, this is the time of year that we recognize companies for outstanding honesty. We look at things like what's their commitment to the community, to the culture of their organization, to their communications with all their constituents, and also the character of the organization. And we do that through our Torch Awards for Marketplace Trust, and we also do it through our Spark Awards, which is for younger entrepreneur companies. And by the way, that one comes with money.
Oh, good. Good.
And so companies, they can either self-nominate or other folks can nominate them. We then evaluate all that information they submit, and then they're recognized. Because what a great thing for a company to be able to say is, I've been recognized as a Torch Award recipient because I do stand for Marketplace Trust. I do stand for ethics. And so for your listeners out there, if they hear this and they want to nominate someone, just go to bbb.org, and we would love to hear from them.
A business we're happy with.
If they submit a nomination, we will then ask the company to submit the information we need
gotcha.
for our judges to take a look at that. Okay. And every year we recognize anywhere from 15 to 20 companies that really have set the standard of trust in the marketplace.
Can we find that at bbb.org?
You sure can.
Okay.
Yeah, if you just go to bbb.org, you're going to see programs, and then you'll go right there and you'll be able to click on the link to nominate a company. Because, unfortunately, we spend a lot of time talking about the bad. We also want to make sure that we're recognizing the good. Yes, we are here to denounce substandard behavior and call out the bad guys, but we also want to celebrate the marketplace role models, the guys that are doing it right.
Yeah.
They deserve that.
Because there are a lot of them.
There are a lot of them.
Does it cost a lot to get accredited?
No, it's very nominal. It's similar to like joining a chamber of commerce. We are a trade association. Our trade just happens to be trust as opposed to plumbing or electrical.
Oh.
So we're very similar to a trade association or a chamber of commerce. It is a member organization. And so once the company applies and they do in fact meet those standards, they do pay annual dues. The average is about $500 or $600 depending upon the size of the company.
Yeah.
But we also have really, really big companies that are members. So obviously they're paying a much larger amount. But, can you put a price on your reputation of trust and integrity? And especially in today's day where AI is feeding you so much information, I will tell you that we know AI engines draw on our data. And so for online reputation management, to know that AI is going to say BBB says this is a trusted company, that's great information for companies to know.
Because the reason I asked was because I wondered if there are smaller companies who feel like, well, we do all these things right, but we can't afford it.
Again, we have payment plans. We have a lower yeah, it's all based on the number of employees and the number of locations they have and things like that. So it's definitely equitable. Smaller companies pay lower membership dues. And remember, we're not just reporting on member companies. We're reporting on companies that are also not members.
Oh.
Now, that doesn't mean they're bad. There's a lot of great companies out there that are currently not accredited with BBB. My office maintains close to 200,000 files on businesses throughout the 45 counties that we serve. So regardless of whether they are in fact accredited or not, we're probably going to report on them. Similar to what we talked about earlier, the gentleman, the tree service that has an F rating, clearly they're not a member.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you both what I love, the old-fashioned good, bad, and ugly.
Okay.
We're going to report on all of it.
Robin Householder, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Hopefully this keeps you and or family members or both safe from scams. We'll put some more information and some links on the Focus Facebook page. Please make sure you join us again next week. I'm Anna Marie, and that's Focus.